Welcome back, Selvakumar. Subject Telecommunication Network Management, and I'm working as assistant professor in ACE, Government College of Engineering, Sengipatti, Tanjavur. Among this unit two, today I am going to discuss about the topics CMIS scoping, Common Management in Information Service Element Scoping, Common Management Information Service Filtering Feature, Synchronization, CMIS synchronization, Functional Unit, and association service. So scoping, in general, scoping means scoping is used to select a multiple object, as already discussed. Some of the network element ID, base object class, base object instance, and other things. Yeah, among this scoping is used to select the multiple objects and the multiple response from the remote systems. CM is a filtering feature. Filtering feature is used to filter the or how to recover the response from a particular object. So filtering is required for the CM with these scopings, right? And the synchronization is used to synchronize the particular elements of the or objects of the remote systems. Functional units are united together to some of the services, and association service are also adapted with the functional units. Introduction to CMIS, Common Management Information Service Element Scoping, Filtering, Synchronization. So, within some services, that's some services means here we are discussed about in previously, that is the MSET, MGET, M Action, M Event Report Services, M Cancer Services. These are the some services. CMS provides the additional capabilities that are related to the CME. CME means Structure of Management Information. These are the additional services capabilities are the scoping, filtering, synchronization, and link reply facilities. The presence of these facilities are indicated by the multiple object selection functional unit defined in CMSE. These facilities provide the manager with the ability to operate on a collection of managers rather than a single object. As I already stated, in general, that help for the manager with the ability to collect a managed object response or the information from the remote objects, managed objects from the remote systems rather than a single object. The selection of multiple objects occurs in two phases. One is the scoping and another one is the filtering. Scoping is used to identify the manager objects to which a filter is to be applied. Filtering is used to Scoping is used to identify the manager object to which a filter is to be applied. So, for example, I want to get the information from the manager objects among the remote sources. The manager object means remote sources means the controller ID, controller card, slot interchange card, and some more else protection card. These are all inserted in a system in the remote objects. So this scoping is used to identify that object. Either it is a controller card, or either it is an interface card, or either it is in some other cards. So for that, a filter is applied to get the information. So filtering is used to select a subset of the manager object that satisfied certain conditions. So for example, if we are using scoping means uh, scoping here almost given is given is scoping to select, for example, in a class, that class identify the third year or final year. The class identify the third year or the final year. Then that is identified by the scoping. So in that class, a particular student information has to be get. Particular student information has to be get. That is identified by using the filtering. by the name of the student and the roll number of the students. That is the satisfy the certain condition. That is here that a particular object instance and the values to be identified, and that information has to be get to the manager system from the remote operations. So if scoping is not used, only the base manager object indicate the CMIS manager object class parameter is implied. Scoping, as discussed earlier, the services are the mget, mset, maction, and mdelete. Stated that request may be issued to address multiple object via only scoping. By using the scoping, these services can get the information among the multiple objects. So scoping features are used to select multiple objects in a single request. So by using a single request, they select the information of the multiple information from the multiple objects. So CME scope parameters are interpreted relative to this base manner defined by both the manager object class and the object instance defined by the both manager object class and the information. These scope parameter can be used to select the base object only. So as I already stated that if I want to select an information of a single students or the multiple students in a class, this scope parameter used to select the base object, that is the base object equal to third year students. But among that each individual students, that is all managed in that subtree, that is in the class. In the class, there are 50, 56 around students are there. The subtree of the content tree below the base object are all the manager object in that they are using to get the information. They are using to get the information by using the everyone response of the class. Everyone response of the class. The figure shows an example of tree of manager object is known as network element. This is a figure shows here. That's shows as a tree like the network element. The flow chart, and again one is the flow chart. The flow chart shows the how the multiple responses be selected from the manager objects of the remote systems. The flowchart shows selecting how multiple via scoping one request service where multiple responses are possible without selecting multiple object is an action. Without selecting multiple object is an action. So without selecting the multiple object in a class, what is the performance? Performance equal to some of the students name one, roll number one. Performance equal to students number roll number two. Performance is students roll number three. Likewise, you have to mentioning that with a single request, like multiple students performance can be received. That is the perform. That is the importance of scoping used in the common management information service element. So now let's discuss about the object. The object of figure shown as ellipse. The object of the figure each and everyone is shown as the value of the attributes are shown inside this ellipse figure. This is a network element. This is the base object, base managed object. So this is all the sub objects. This is a sub object that will be connected into this main managed object, main managed base. This object this network element, that name of this manager object is the ID equal to ACME, network element ID equal to ACME. It contains the network element of two networks, two controller cards are there, two cards are there. This network element again is as CSU1, network unit ID CSU1, and it consists of two controller cards. One is the equipment ID controller card, and another one is the modulation demodulation ID. And the name of the modulation demodulation ID is tree, and the equipment ID is the controller. So these are the scope down to the second level. This will be the end selection here. This selected figure shows the end selection here. So is the another connected trees to the equipment card. We have to instead of Instead of getting specifying the modem ID informations and the equipment controller ID responses, we are selecting by using the scoping by selecting the network element ID ACME. Then it will give the multiple response from the modem and the equipment controller ID. The and the individual response of the modem and the equipment control it is written for the every selected object that are connected, every selected object that are connected into this base object. um, uh, so likewise, that information that the scoping, likewise the scoping is getting the information from these objects, from these objects. And how the flowcharts dictates how the multiple responses. So here request is one request is received, that is one one request is sent to the using the scoping scope selector multiple request record. If it is yes, if it is no, send response. So multiple object is not there, multiple object is not there, it send the response. If it is yes, is that the last response up to the last response, up to that last response. If it is the last response of that multiple objects, there is what are the IDs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, three IDs are there. Three slots and objects are there. Instance are there. So for selecting this response, if it is yes, the request is completed, response will be sent to the manager system. If it is not so, if it is not so, that response will be again reselected by using this. If a network element ID ACME, it will be connected in a tree-like structure, that is equipment ID controller card. So getting this response one, and another it will be connected to the modem modulation and demodulation and getting this response, and then it will be given to this. Likewise the multiple response are taken by the single start search. So if it is a last response, that will be shown in the another flow diagram, then if it is this response, the last response is completed, last response comes, that is equal to the request ID, then the request is completed and this response is sent to the managers. So here the example given here, by using the service get request, I invoke ID equal to 4, and the object is ACME, and object is ACME, and object is ACME, the object is ACME network element or object. Scope equal to 2 base, scope equal to 2 base. The scope equal to 2 base means the base connected to the network element, that is a 2 base. 2 base means this is the 2 bases. So get request invoke ID equal to 2, linked ID equal to, linked ID means this invoke ID, that invoke ID specifies the object ACME less than the attribute value of ACME. The response is comes. This is the manager system and this is the managing system. This is the manager system and this is the managing system. The invoke ID is get. So this is a managing system and this is the managed systems. Managed systems. This is a managed system, managing system, and this is a managed system. Get request invoke ID equal to linked ID equal to for attribute value for ACME. So response as get from this invoke object connected to the bases. What are the bases? Request 1, request 2, and request 3. Here see here get response 3. That invoke ID, that invoke ID is 4. Linked ID equal to 4. The attribute value for CSU 1. Attribute value of CSU 1 is received. So last get response ID equal to 4. If it is the last get that ID equal to 4. This is the last response ID. If ID equal to 4, there's a that the last response is received, then it will the request is completed and then the response is sent to the managing system. So likewise the CMISE scoping, final conclusion about the scoping. This scoping is to get an information response from the multiple object on a single request by using the base object class ID, which are all the objects that are connected to the, which are all the sub objects are connected to the object, or give the response in a single request. For this purpose, scoping is using. Next is the scoping and filtering. The CMSE scoping and filtering are used to select a particular object in that. Select a particular object. So suppose I need to an information from the particular object of this modulation demodulation that are linked together with the network element ID ACME and the network unit ID CSE. So for that filtering operation by using this conditional based, by using the conditional based, if it is either by using the conditional based to select this object only, for that response only received, for the response only received, and that will be sent to the managing objects. So listen here, within the object selected as a result of the scope parameter, it is possible to further refine the selection of the managers through the use of filtering. So by using the filtering among the selected scope parameters, it is again refined to get a single one. Further, they are using the logical operation and on the condition applied to the attributes, and on the condition applied to the attributes. Filtering provides the ability to select a subset of these objects based on condition applied to the, for example, IP routing table entries with the IP root age greater than 100. If the IP root age greater than 100, that object will be selected and the response will be sent to the managing systems. The selection using filter parameters is applicable both in the case of single and the multiple object. By using the filter parameter, we can select the single and the multiple objects. Even though it is common practice to combine filtering with the scoping, it is possible to request an operation on a simple subject be performed subject to the condition met. Subject on condition meeting to the criteria, then the objects are received. Let us now consider where multiple objects are selected using scope parameter. For example, this was mentioned as object class equal to equipment and vendor name equal to ADC, or object class equal to processor and operation state equal to disabled. Operation state equal to disabled. Um, combining scoping and filtering features offer a powerful object selection mechanism with the CMA. Just a minute. Combining scoping and filtering features offers a powerful object selection mechanism with the CMSE. While using the combination of the scoping and filtering feature, it is a powerful object selection mechanism for the CMSE, which is not available with the other network management. Other network is not available with the other network management protocols. So this is a combining filtering features of the with the scope. You see here base management start search here. The network element ID is ACME. Network unit, the same diagram were used here also. Some extension is here. Here the equipment controller ID card equal to ADC. Administrator equal to locked. Vendor name equal to, this is the vendor name equal to Raman. Administrator equal to locked. Here the administrator equal to locked and the operation state equal to disabled. So we are selecting the two among these conditions. Among these conditions, object class will be equipment and vendor name equal to ADC and vendor name equal to ADC. So vendor name equal to ADC. This object is selected. That is the selected, and the process ID operation state equal to disabled. Process and operation state equal to disabled. So this is the by using the filtering feature among this network element ACME, this will be selected. Among this response will be the selected object response will be sent back to the managing systems. Next is synchronization. Synchronization parameter goes hand in hand with the scope parameters. So it is synchronized with the scope parameters. Once multiple objects are selected using scope parameters of a combination of scope and filter. So this parameter, this synchronization can be performed in two ways. One is the best effort and another one is the atomic. The two possible choices are the best effort and atomic. If best effort synchronization is selected, the failure to apply an operation, example, failure to apply an operation, for example, M set to one instance of object does not affect the efforts to apply this operation to other instance of the object. So the best for synchronization, the best effort is the better one than the atomic, because that one object is selected does not affect the operation of the other instance of the object. Performing the requested operation, successful or otherwise, on one of the selected object does not impact on the other object. If atomic synchronization is selected, then the operation is either performed on all object instances selected or none. So if it is here the one instance object is selected, it's not will be affect the other object. It will be performed on all the object instance selected, right? The default synchronization is the best effort. Next one is the CMISE functional units. The concept of functional unit. The concept of functional has been introduced in the upper layer of the OSI reference model. Depending on the function, the multiple services are defined. Depending on the function, the multiple services are defined. So this table describes the functionality of the CMAC and associated set of service features. Functional units are a mechanism whereby service are grouped into a meaningful collection depending on the services. The use of functional units may or may not be negotiable. The basic services are grouped together into a functional unit referred to as kernel. So basic services, the common services which are used to get the responses from the remote systems, that is we call it as the basic services. That services may be the M event report, M get, M action, and these are grouped into a one function. These are grouped into a one function that we call it as referred to as a kernel. So that functional unit shown here, that the basic services are functioned groups together here. So the kernel means there's M event report, M get, M set, M action, M create and M delete services are a similar function to get the informations from the managed objects. So the services are available for use. These services are available for use. For that we are called it as this kernel. So another one is the multiple object selection. Which is services for the multiple object selection is the use of scope and synchronization parameters. Use of filter parameters is used. Use of filter parameters is used. Use of filter parameter is permitted. Multiple reply. Linked identifier parameter may be used. This allows several replies sent from a single request. So multiple replies will be sent to the invoke identifier. The parameter may be used. Another one is the extended service. The presentation layer service. Presentation layers means on the presentation data. Presentation layer that was presented in the OSI protocol. Other than P data, presentation data may be used to transfer CMI protocol data units. Is an extended service of the functional units. And another one is the cancel get. M cancel get service is available also is available for use. that conclusion of the functional units are grouped into a similar services into a meaningful collection, similar services into a meaningful collection. Sometimes that is similar services we call it as the kernel. So similar services mean the scope and synchronization are similar services. M event, M set, M create, and M delete are similar services, and these are named as the kernel. This was named as the kernel. Here the multiple object selection. If it is filter is permitted, that's the filter. We can use the functional unit name is filter. Uh, this was the end of the among the topics covered. Uh, I hope that all you are all get a clear idea about and getting a clear information about the scoping, filtering, synchronization, and function. And again, I conclude that scoping means with a single request, we have to select the multiple responses of the managed objects in the managed systems, of the managed objects in the managed systems. Filtering is used to select a particular object instance that are linked to the object, particular object instance that are linked to the object. Synchronization is used to synchronize the objects which are connected together. And the functional units are the similar set of services are are grouped into together to form a name such as kernel, filter, and other and so on, right? And thank you, thank you all, thank you, and once again thank you, students.